I'm going to plant Greg Peterson's tree, but how can people find out about your pop-up tree nursery?
Pop-up tree nursery is open usually 2 or 3 weekends in January for the deciduous trees, and 2 or 3 weekends in March for the citrus trees. So we've got the citrus coming up.
Okay.
They can find out about it at urbanfruittrees.org.
Okay. Your regular site that has a lot of other information about your webinars, your literature, all this stuff is
urbanfarm.org.
Hey, I'm Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, and this guy right here is Greg Peterson, the urban farmer at urbanfarm.org. And I love coming to Greg's pop-up tree nursery every year because it's always in the spring. It kind of sets off the growing season.
Yep.
And you've got a ton of trees out here. They're bare roots. They were grown in the earth, not in pots.
Right, exactly.
And they're huge. They're like mature size.
I've never seen. So we always get big trees from Dave Wilson.
Right.
This year the trees are crazy big. It is so cool.
You're gonna hook me up with an awesome tree today.
Yes, pretty dang cool.
Look at all these trees. Oh, all deciduous. Stone fruits, peaches, nectarines, apricots, plums, almonds, pecans.
And this is a crazy tall tree here. Go ahead and grab it.
This one.
That's right. That's the one for you.
Now, it looks dead. Why does it look dead?
It's dormant.
It's dormant.
Yeah, this is a dormant. This is a dormant tree. That's how they come in. That's what they do in the winter. The deciduous trees, and I get this question a lot.
Right.
So don't feel bad if you ask me this. If somebody asks me this question, I get this question a lot. My tree looks dead in the winter. Did it die? No.
You get this question?
I do. It's deciduous.
Right.
It's deciduous.
Which means it loses leaves.
They lose their leaves in the winter. That's right.
Just like Jesus resurrecting from the grave, they resurrect from the dormancy.
There you go.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, so what will happen is that all of these little buds on here.
These are nodes.
These nodes.
Yeah, those are nodes.
That's where it will grow.
That's where the branches will come from. That's where the flowers will come from. The fruit comes from that. And the leaves.
Heat activates that.
Oh yeah.
So maybe like in a month from now.
Right. Oh yeah.
Start blooming.
This thing will be all budded out in a month, and this thing is 18 feet tall, maybe.
I know. It's great.
Yeah.
So if you need a big shade tree right away,
there you go. And here's the thing about this one. If you plant this one this way,
yes,
we've already pruned it. If you plant it this way, in a year, it's going to be 30 feet tall.
Wow.
And producing fruit.
Now, what if I don't want it that tall and I want the fruit within arm's reach? Can I prune this one?
Oh yeah, you just prune it down.
So I would cut it here.
Yeah, I would cut it here. If you wanted more like a bush, you just cut it right here, or cut it right here, or even cut it way down here. And then what happens is that it multi-branches out at the bottom.
It'll encourage a bushy shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let me ask you one more question too, because I didn't know this when I first started gardening. Why is that huge knuckle there? What is that?
That's the graft point.
So that's a different tree than this.
Exactly. This is a different tree than this. This is the rootstock. Rootstocks are generally drought tolerant. They're nematode resistant. You know, they're
fast growing.
They're fast growing. Exactly. So they have different characteristics.
Or they take the soil better.
They take the soil better. Exactly. So they have these different characteristics. You want to make sure when you plant this has to be above the ground. If you plant it to here, bury it to here, it rots away the graft point.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, where should the soil come up to?
Right about here.
Where you can see it right now.
Yeah, you can start seeing the roots. We've got a few roots here. You can, just somewhere in this area right here.
Now, when I first started gardening, I didn't know what grafting was.
Right.
So my question 5 years ago would have been, is grafting GMO? Is grafting like modern day science, or is grafting okay?
Grafting's okay. Basically what they do is they take an already existing rootstock that does better in a particular soil, and they put your fruiting stock on top of it. So they call this the rootstock and the scion, or the fruiting stock.
Okay.
And it's been done for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years, and it's perfectly environmentally sound.
So grafting trees is an ancient form of farming. An ancient form of gardening.
Yeah. Basically what they do is they take a really nice, like a Macintosh apple, and they know it's a nice Macintosh apple, and they put it on an apple rootstock, so that every time you always get the Macintosh apple.
Nice. And so I tell folks that pretty much every fruit they've ever eaten in their entire lives has been from a grafted tree, most likely.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Cool. I'm going to take this home to Tempe.
Yep.
To Longevity Gardens.
Yes.
How does it have to be shipped?
Well, we're going to put it, I got a bag here.
Okay. I don't want to let these dry out.
Right. You don't want to, so you're going to pick this up today.
Okay.
You're going to take it home and plant it today.
Yes.
Right.
I'm not going to let it dry out.
Right.
For like
you don't want that to dry out.
Okay.
So we suggest when people come and get trees from us, they plant them.
Tell me that root system doesn't look like,
oh my gosh,
like
isn't
the
that
veins
incredible?
of a human being.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, so don't tell me that we're not all connected, because this looks like
Yeah.
the arteries, the heart, the veins in my body.
Yeah, I know.
So the Earth's growing us the same. So,
right, cool. Fantastic.
and I'm gonna go right now to Longevity Gardens in Tempe, and I'll show you guys exactly where and how I'm gonna plant Greg Peterson's tree. But how can people find out about your pop-up tree nursery?
Pop-up tree nursery is open usually 2 or 3 weekends in January.
Okay.
For the deciduous trees, and
Okay.
2 or 3 weekends in March for the citrus trees. So we got the citrus coming up.
Okay.
They can find out about it at urbanfruittrees.org.
Okay. Your regular site that has a lot of other information about your webinars, your literature, all this stuff is
urbanfarm.org.
Thanks for having me out today,
Yep.
and I'll see you in Tempe next time. Let's go to Tempe right now. All right, I'm back here in Tempe at Longevity Gardens. We're gonna plant this bare root fruit tree we just got from Greg Peterson's pop-up tree nursery, and the tree looks fantastic. Sadly, we have this. This sad Antonio mango. I tried my best. I was going to leave him in the ground, and I was going to see if he would bud again in the spring. But in my opinion, I'm looking down the stalk, down the trunk here, and these parts look like they're just gonna snap. I mean, they're dry as a bone. That's definitely dead. I don't see, oh, I see a grasshopper. I don't see a lot of this guy that's actually alive, except for this grasshopper on my leg. Going for my, oh, whoa. He's all over the place. Go free, my friend. All right, so I'm gonna sadly pull out the Antonio cold tolerant mango. I found that my Kiet made it, my Kiet mango and my Kerry mango, even my coconut cream mango made it, but not the Antonio. And I was going to leave them, but then I started networking with a lot of my other gardening friends. I started seeing them post on Facebook, gardening groups, as well as Instagram. They were all, and texting me, wondering if I was having more success than them because their Antonios also look equally as dismal as mine. And when I saw all of my gardening friends having the similar results of their Antonios dying, I knew that I'd probably be a fool to just hope this guy might make it. So I'm gonna test one more time here, and yeah, this is, oh my God. It's just that is like a stick. It's not even alive. You could do a test sometimes and scratch the wood, but this one is so dead. I'm sure it's dead. So the good thing is that we're going to recycle the perfect soil that I put in the ground for this tree. I gave him the perfect soil. We're gonna reuse it for this new fruit tree, and I know for a fact that this fruit tree is gonna make it in the Phoenix area. So let me show you guys what the soil looks like, and then I'll show you guys exactly how I plant a bare root tree, and then you guys can go to Greg Peterson yourself, pick up one of his amazing trees. Okay, we're gonna take this guy out of the bag. It's only been a few hours since I've been at the Urban Farm Nursery with Greg Peterson, so the roots are still moist. If you guys are gonna get one of these bare roots from Greg, make sure that you guys keep the roots hydrated, but not in a soup. So if you're gonna put it in a pot for a while, you don't want it to be a soup, you don't want it to be a pool of water, but do keep it damp and wet and moist so that the roots stay alive. And the good thing about this fruit tree is that he's gonna get all the benefits of that perfect, amazing soil that I made specially for the mango. He's gonna grow very rapidly and fruit some delicious fruit. And these deciduous trees that have a low chill requirement are perfect for the Phoenix area. Now, one thing I'm gonna do when I put this fruit tree in the ground is I'm going to orient the graft so the right part of the tree is facing the sun. So the sun's gonna be over here to my left. And so I'm gonna put the new tree right like this, facing the sun. I don't wanna put the connection of the graft sideways facing the sun. I'm gonna turn the graft away so that pretty much only the fruiting tree will face the sun, because it looks like this graft has grown really well and really solid, and it's pretty mature graft is growing over the top. And that way this part will allow some sun protection from the joint where the two trees have bonded together. I've made the hole shaped according to the root system, which in my opinion looks like the veins and arteries of a human. I'm gonna make sure that the pole is vertical. You might want to get your leveler out and try that, but I just eyeball it. And then I'm going to backfill in the tree with the same soil that I planted for the Antonio mango. So if you want to see what it looks like, you guys can click on the Antonio mango video that I made a few months ago that's here on the screen. It's also in the comments and description below this video. You can see the exact soil blend that's in these buckets now that I dug out of this hole. So I'm just going to put the soil back in. This has lava sand, and it has worm castings, and it has the rock dust minerals. It has good bioactive, locally made compost. It also has different sizes of composted mulch, composted wood chips, and native soil all together. And we're gonna just throw this back in there. I'm gonna stick him up like this. I'm gonna kind of just tap, 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 and that way hopefully he'll hold himself up. Like that, perfect, just like that. And now I can backfill without having any garden friends to help me, except for my good friend who's videoing this episode. So give a thanks to my man Joachim in the comments below. Now, remember what Greg said. We don't want to bury the grass, we don't want to bury the soil too high. So see how there's a root right there? That's gonna be okay to bury. And you can see how right about there, where these two nodes are, I can tell that's darker than this, and that's where the soil level was when this guy was grown in the ground. Then they dug him up when he went dormant, and I can tell that's where the soil came up to. So I'm gonna pour a bunch of soil in the hole, but when I'm finished, I'm not gonna let that soil get above this dark spot right here. So now that he's holding himself up, I'm gonna just keep dumping this soil back in there. And then if you notice, there's a banana peel here from the past. I'm gonna throw that in there. I can't do any harm. Then I'm gonna smooth out this soil, and I'm not gonna let it come up above that dark spot. Man, this soil is so nice. There's even worms in it. So if you guys look at this really quick, this is important because, you know, it's important, you guys, if you ever kill a tree or a tree doesn't make it, that unless the tree had some sort of weird fungus or infection in the soil, which usually is not the case, replant another tree in that place. Don't try to become a pack rat of trees. We don't want our gardens to become an episode of hoarders, of tree hoarders, where we are holding on to things that are obviously dead. So pull that tree out, put something else in its place that will thrive. Don't make the same mistake twice. Maybe put a different tree there the second time. And what happens is that as long as you've been caring for that tree that died, the soil will be more alive because you put good things in it and you've been watering it. And so an example of that is this worm right here. So I'm gonna put this worm back in the soil, push some dirt on top of him, and now I've got a hole that's ready to accept this tree, as opposed to planting the tree in dead ground that's just this lifeless clay Arizona dirt. My entire yard was lifeless clay Arizona dirt when I first moved in here, and now I've really done a good job of the last 5 years of making the soil become alive by using mulch and wood chips and harvesting all the water off the roof of my house. So now we can totally tell that this tree is at the perfect level. The graft is not buried. And if you guys subscribe, hit like button, add this video to your favorites, I'll come back to you all with updates in the future of this tree, what variety it is. I'll tell you in the future when it fruits. I'll let that be a surprise, and I'll hopefully see you guys one of these days at Greg Peterson's pop-up fruit tree nursery events. Go over there and check him out because he's got some great trees. Every tree in there looked healthy, bigger than it usually does, which means you're gonna get a great value for your dollar. Because if you're getting a tree that's a certain size but they came in bigger, it's already like you got a year jump on the system. And the trees that I planted here were definitely smaller than the ones that Greg has right now. So you guys can catch me if you buy now because it's like you got a 2-year jump on everybody else. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you go vegan, grow your food at home, get some hands that look like mine. Check out my website at jakemace.com and my Instagram at jakemacetaichi. Join my Facebook gardening group, which is called Urban Gardening with Jake Mace. I'm going to do a couple more things here, which is pull the mulch back over the top of the hole. Wood chips, leaves, hay, straw, and then I'm gonna put the water on this guy for about 10 minutes until the hole is fully saturated with water. And then pretty much I'm not gonna water him anymore. It's like January the 18th today. I'm not gonna water him again until he starts to bud out because the bare roots can easily rot if you put too much water in them because they're not really active, and so that dirt can just rot. So make sure that you guys don't overwater. I'm gonna water one time today, then I'm gonna back the water off until these little nodes start to bloom. That's it, you guys. Thanks for joining me here. I love having you guys for these garden video blogs. That's all they are, is just my gardening journal, and you guys get to come along for the ride. I'll see you guys all next time.